Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the USS Nerddom on a 5-year mission, but we've only done it for 3 years. So boldly go, where no nerd
We were canceled before we got to 5 years.
has gone before.
Right here, Captain.
Nerd is the new sexy.
Big Boss episode.
Hello everyone, I am Wildfire1, and this is Nerd is the New Sexy. Why are you laughing, Gambit? What is your problem, man? Just busting up. That's how you know this is going to be a great episode.
Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. With me today is,
Sofisto.
and also with me is,
I can't do this. Okay.
I have to bleep that out.
yeah, that's okay.
Kapla! Gambit.
And today, this is episode 100. This is a milestone for us. We've been talking about doing this. We've been talking about a special. Obviously, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, especially from the opening, you're watching the wrong show.
Yeah.
Star
Wrong
Wars.
podcast. If you don't understand.
Star Wars.
What-
Where's Han Solo?
Chewbacca. I'm Chewbacca.
We're talking about Star Trek, obviously, and we love this. This has been a long time coming. We've been talking about. We've had a lot of people ask us, "When you do the Star Trek episode? When you do Star Trek?" Well, guess what? Now, right this second.
Yeah. Sorry that I'm not dressed up. I couldn't find my doctor's tunic. I had the blue one, had it ready, and between episode 70 is when we started talking about this, and now I've lost it because I moved and moved around. So
It's okay.
it's somewhere.
You
Was
can
that?
still be a doctor. You're just off duty.
Yeah, I'm just off duty, which they never go off duty. They have the worst civilian clothes in Star Trek ever. We'll talk about that later.
Kirk's probably the only human that could ever take on a Klingon.
Well,
That's true.
no, Riker did.
Oh, Riker. Yeah.
And Cisco did as well.
So did Cisco. Yes.
Cisco actually took out many a Klingon.
But let's go ahead and start from the beginning. Let's start from
Yeah.
the first series. And, Gambit asked me a very important question earlier about how far down do we want to go down that rabbit hole, because the original series got pretty political.
Super political.
But we'll mention a little bit. We're not going to go too far down that rabbit hole.
Well, Gene Roddenberry openly stated that he wrote each race specifically as a different time in human history. For instance, Klingons are a warrior culture race that's harkens to like the Japanese, or maybe the Vikings, or very warrior race. Like all the races, he designed them specifically to have the goods and bads of all the pitfalls of that said society. And that's how he was able to write in the politics of the show, because he wasn't talking about America and the things that were going on in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. Obviously, the show's been running for a very long time.
So would that make Ferengis Jewish?
I mean, kind of.
How about that?
Let's start at the beginning. So
Right at the beginning, right in his genre, in the original Kirk, not the new Kirk.
Right, the original Kirk, which, fun fact, that only had, for as big as the show became and as big as the show was, it only had 80 episodes, 3 seasons, that's it.
Well, let's
3
talk about
seasons.
the first episode, the pilot, where it wasn't even Kirk, it was Pike.
Yes,
That was a
Captain
pilot,
Pike was
yeah.
held prisoner and tested on by aliens. Yeah, so, and that's how it's always started.
Which there's a giant episode just about Pike in general.
I think they didn't want to do Kirk. I'm not sure, though. I wasn't around that time. Like, I didn't.
Well, I think you know
They
a little
didn't
more
pick up
about
the
that.
pilot. For some reason, they didn't like Scott or Jeffrey Hunter, who played Pike, and there was something about the whole vibe of that, about the pilot that the network didn't want to pick it up. I don't really remember what it was all about, but
If you guys
they
remember
wrote it.
that,
They wrote another episode and recast everybody except for Spock. Spock was the only one from the original cast that they kept.
I remember
Right.
hearing about that.
Right, that's one of my favorite nerd facts about that show is Leonard Nimoy was the only character to never be recast.
Which, golf clap for Leonard Nimoy. I mean,
Yeah.
Leonard Nimoy's the shit.
The smiling Vulcan.
Don't call me Spock.
The smile.
I mean, we could golf clap for him, but there were times in his life he hated that role.
Oh yeah.
Well, he got typecasted, and of course, he showed up in a lot of sci-fi shows because of it. And imagine walking down the street and people are going, "Go do the thing, Spock." Yeah, and it gets tiresome. It's all you can even say the same thing for Mark Hamill or someone from Star Wars. It pisses you off when you're a professional actor and they only remember you for one role.
Right. So they recast everybody. Then we got the next cast. William Shatner, obviously George Takei or Takai, however you
George
want to pronounce
Takei,
it.
of course. I can't remember.
Sulu. Oh my. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nichols.
See, that's why I thought Michelle. Michael.
Walter Kang, Frank Da Vinci. So that's the original cast, all playing the most.
Great cast.
Great cast. And then Leonard Nimoy. I'm sorry, I didn't want to leave out Leonard Nimoy. And that was your original bridge crew.
Yes.
So.
Not to mention all the red shirts that died. Just pour a 40 out for them.
Right. The
crewman
red
number
shirt,
5.
Crewman number 5. If you wore a red shirt, you were dead.
Oh, and Dr. McCoy. I'm sorry.
DeForest
Kelly. Yeah. Oh shoot. Oh. That's it. And I think. Oh, and Scotty was James Doohan.
Yeah, that's what Sofisto said.
Yeah. So I think that's everybody. Anywho, so yeah, we got everybody. Original cast.
A lot of episodes. You said what? 80 episodes?
80 episodes, 3 seasons.
Didn't really last that long for being something that turned out really big, right?
It ran longer in reruns than it ran through its original.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's the only Star Trek to not get 7 seasons.
Yes. So we'll start with you, Gambit. What's your favorite episode of the original series?
Shit.
I mean, it's hard to tell the names because I watched the original series not long ago, but I binge watched all of them.
No, in preparation for this, I binge watched all of them in not only episode order but series order.
Yeah, me too.
And there was the first season. There was an episode about the powerful psychic teenager. That was a really good episode. That was in the first season, and the third, I want to say second or third season is when the Changeling. I think that's the episode. It was called The Changeling. With the artificial intelligence probe with the mysterious twisted operator came and that was the whole premise of the show.
Yeah.
And so that one I really liked, and then obviously when Kirk and Spock had to fight to the death on the planet, that was
Tim and I were talking about that with the song.
Like obviously that's an iconic scene. Yeah, it's freaking amazing. And that would probably be them. And I guess I do like. Admittedly, I hate it because like I feel like it's a girl episode, but I really like it. I do like the Quibbles episode.
The which one?
Quibbles.
Tribbles.
Yeah.
Trouble with Tribbles.
Trouble with Tribbles. That's the episode name. Yeah.
Yeah. Trouble with Tribbles.
That's actually my favorite. So you just got that out of the way.
Yeah. I mean, well, everybody liked it because cute little animals. It's like they were bigger problems than just cute little animals.
And they hated Klingons.
Yeah. Well, because the Klingons were trying to eradicate them. That was the whole thing. Like they were a nuisance. They were pests. They keep breeding and eating and breeding and eating. That's all they do.
Yeah. Eat
Tribbles.
fuck.
What did I call them? Quibbles? Oh, yeah. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
The quadrotriptychale or whatever the grain was poisoned by the Klingons.
Yeah.
There was the whole thing behind that was that the Federation was supposed to be buying this grain, and the grain was poisoned by the Klingons, and the only way that they found out that it was poisoned was because the Tribbles were dying because they were eating that stuff.
So the Tribbles saved. They saved the Federation.
Yeah.
Technically.
Those strange little animals saved the Federation.
That of course Uhura fell in love with, I believe, at the first, and then she got one, and then everyone else wanted one, and they just fucking made it, and they were everywhere.
Yes, they were.
Which was also a very funny episode. Which
they died.
Yeah. It
was probably one of the more well done episodes, I will have to say. And what a lot of people give crap about it is that the CGI is so wonderfully bad in the original series.
Well, it wasn't even CGI; it was all practical imagery.
No, yeah.
It was strings and fucking and ships and shit.
I got like one favorite episode in each season, basically. I got the Teenage of the first season. I got the Trouble with Trouble. I cannot pronounce his name today. Trouble with Tribbles episode, and then obviously the fight scene between Kirk and Spock was awesome.
That was a damn good episode. When he had to mate, like how they mate every 7 years.
The Pon farr?
Yeah, the Pon farr.
Yeah, that is intent for them.
Well,
but it's not something they talk about.
Another one of
matter.
my favorite episodes is the one where they have that like rock lava monster, where he does that, where Spock actually, Nimoy actually does that really bad overacting, pain, anger, but it was just pain.
I remember Shatner at one point said he was supposed to be off to the side showing a reaction shot to that. And at one point he said, "Give that Vulcan an aspirin."
So, Sofisto, what's your favorite episode?
Actually, I was just talking about the very first pilot, and they didn't pick it up. I kind of like Jeffrey Hunter as the captain.
Pike, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and that the one that they actually turned into like a two-part special, I guess. They used most of that pilot, along with some stuff with Kirk and Spock and all that stuff. Yeah, no, you see Pike come rolling in his little roller boy scooter, and 2 beeps for no or yes or whatever, and he's all messed up and obviously years older. Yeah.
That was such an iconic.
That's one of my favorites.
That scene has been mimicked in so many episodes of sci-fi things where he's just all messed up and tore up and just
beep beep. Yeah.
He got injured while saving crew members from whatever ship he was.
So Pike was a good captain, obviously, right?
Pike was a great captain. When you rewatch the pilot, it's on Netflix. When you rewatch the pilot episode, it didn't seem like his acting was that bad. I don't know what the network had a problem with.
He had some problems with some of the networks, and I guess he had a mental health issue or something going on from an accident that he'd been involved in or something. He didn't. I don't think he actually lived much longer than like 1970.
How did he die? Do you know?
Made himself a pretty big star.
Okay.
Within the short period of time that he was acting.
Okay.
He starred in this religious film called King of Kings. He made a big name for
Never
himself
died. The
there.
original Pike.
The original
Captain
Pike
Pike
died in 1969, so he died 1 year after the airing of Star Trek, because the first Star Trek premiered in 1968.
Yes.
So he died a year later after that. So
How did he die? Did it say?
No, he died at 42 years old. That's all it says. Yeah, that's all it really says
Pretty
about
young.
Good job, Spock. Good looking shit up for me. So proud of you.
Good reference.
Good reference. Save the whales.
it. The Whales, sir.
Another movie.
Save the whale.
So
Whale.
the original series, the original series, you had obviously humans, the Vulcans, the Klingons, the Romulans. Gorn.
The Gorn were
Yes.
in it. The Gorn were in it. So, but the blue guys with the freaking things on their head, I can't remember what they're called. Something Orients, like DeLoreans or something.
DeLoreans. Andorian.
Andorian. Thank you. I was close.
Yep.
And actually, there was a lot more races than I thought in the original one.
Well, read out the races, and we'll continue on with what I was saying.
Oh, God, I can't even pronounce any of these names. Andorians, Armadaeans, Apollo, Argeans, Argeans? The half black, half white, the Chirons. That's their race. The Gamma Carnarians. God damn these names. The Gideons, Kalar, the Hota, and then obviously the ones we named. So we got the Romulus, those ones.
Wasn't there like Orions as well, or Orions? Or
The
something?
Orions.
Yeah.
There's a badass lizard with shiny eyes too.
The Gorn.
Yeah, the Gorn. There
The
you go.
Gorns. Yeah, Gorns. And then obviously the blue creatures were the Trilins. So yeah, there was a lot of races.
I mean, we can briefly go over some of the politics stuff. I know you want to do that.
The 60s was a hotbed of civil rights times.
So Star Trek: The Original Series was set in 1968. Now, it wasn't set in the series, but Gene Roddenberry openly stated in his books and his writings and his interviews that this was a political show to fix the problems in America without actually coming out and saying it outright. So, for instance, when he wanted to write a series about race or politics that was happening in the 60s, because the 60s and early 70s were a hotbed of racial tension in America, he wrote it in a space setting and then used a different race, like the green race, the Aeolians, and we're like, okay, be nice to them. Don't be prejudiced against them. And it was
Or
kind
half
of a
black, half white.
half white, half black. It was his way, because you got to remember too, TV back then wasn't as diverse and welcoming as the TV that we have now. It's almost hard to imagine.
It was a different time, and there was a different thought process back then.
What was it like during the time and ages when, like, the episode when they first kissed? Like, that must have been probably talked about more than
I'm
we.
actually curious about
There were
that.
people that were actually writing Shatner and writing the network and threatening to boycott over that kind of stuff. You don't think that's nothing now. I mean, but to some people back then, it meant a lot. That was the first interracial kiss on television.
That's a
Star Trek.
mind-blowing thought too. I mean, like, Star Trek started something like a process almost, in a way, if you think about it. Because
I think it opened up the avenues to be more free on television, definitely.
if you think about it, Star Trek had a lot of roles in different areas. I mean, look at our technology.
Yes. Yeah. Star Trek is one of the biggest ones. This is why I love this series, is because you can just watch it and just enjoy a good space show, or you can or you can look at it as deeper meaning and political and get some good value from it. And I think that's an amazing thing. Like, that's why I've always enjoyed watching it, because it was.
I just showed Dad flip phones.
The flip phone. My very first phone was a flip phone, and it looked an awful lot like that.
Right. Yeah. And that was the inventors of, like, things like the iPod inventor. He's very open about. He actually watched an episode of Star Trek where Data was listening to like 6 songs at once on his computer, and he thought to himself, "Wow, wouldn't it be cool if I could play music so much?" Technology, politics, thought processing, religion. It was probably for an 80-episode show, for a very campy, very cheesy show. I think it was way ahead of its time in the 60s.
Campy for today's standards. Back then, not so campy.
And why Gene Roddenberry, like you said, he was wanting to have some kind of an effect, and I think he sure did, actually, But there's another thing too. I remember at one point he said that he wanted Star Trek to be like a Western, like wagon train, but he wanted it to go through space where they were dealing with people.
Which is it's a final frontier.
Yeah.
So I mean
Right.
that makes sense. Space.
The final frontier. Yeah, no, that was the idea. That was kind of how the original series was shot, right? And they even talk about it. They even reference that in the later series, that the cowboy days are over. Like, the original Star Trek was more of a cowboy shoot 'em up at, sleep with every hot chick that you see, whether she's green, white, blue, black, like, literally.
Oh yeah.
Shatner dipped his wig. Let's be honest. Like, that captain got some booty.
I wonder if when he pulled out, if his dick was the color of what he put it in. These are real questions, people.
These are real questions.
Real question.
You fuck a green chick, do you have a green dick for a week?
No, but that's the
falls
thing.
off.
Is like, and that's the thing. Is, so it was like, it was very, and there was no prime directive. They didn't talk about the prime directive. That was something
That was Next Generation.
That was totally Next
Look at it
Generation.
this way, they were still learning this. They were still learning the star map. They were still learning, going from place to place. They weren't. In Enterprise, the series, explains a lot of this. They had mastered space travel, but they haven't mastered space. So it was a frontier. It was an exploration. And you still got
Dealing with
exploration.
strange new beings.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
We were still learning the Alpha Quadrant, I believe.
Right, and the Prime Directive came off of, which is great because we're still on the original Star Trek. The Prime Directive came off of the adventures of Star Trek because these guys started so many problems with the way they first make contact.
Fucking up with First Contact.
Oh, we fucked up First Contact so much. Like, you can't just beam down to a planet and start fucking their women. That doesn't go over well with the locals.
Well, no, actually, if you think about it, that is pretty good. You fuck the women, they have children like you, and then you just fix you just cross that bridge.
That's a screw up from our history from going way back. What's our history been? What's our history been like?
That Kirk has to pay.
Space child support.
Yeah.
You got a three-tailed baby. That's not mine. It looks nothing like me.
No, so the original, and that's why I think that there's an argument to be made that the original was one of the best ones because it was so fast, it was so loose, it wasn't so. And, a lot of my friends
It was
make
the
the argument that
gunsmoke
the
of
original,
space.
What's that?
It was the gunsmoke of space, or even worse, the Romulans, who they first made contact with and saw the first Romulan bird of prey in the first season, I believe.
I believe it was the first season.
I think that was the season finale.
And they realized, oh shit, we got an enemy out here.
Yeah. Because
Which
they
is
were
pretty-
using the bird of prey and the cloaking technology to go past the neutral zone and be like, we're going to spy on you. And then that was it.
We fucked up that first negotiation as a show of good faith. We would never make cloaking technology. Fuck you, Romulus. No, that's the reason why we never, people always ask us, why are the Federation, why are the humans only want, the Klingons got it, the Romulans got it. I was like, you need to learn your Star Trek history. We didn't do it because the original Star Trek, during the peace accords in the neutral zone, we made a promise that we would never develop cloaking technology so that it kept the Romulans at peace, basically, that we weren't trying to spy on them, which is
what they were doing to us!
They're the most spy-y people. They're the most,
I think they were supposed to be the Russians back then.
Like that, they were supposed to be the Russians.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I can see that. I actually now can see the correlation between
So we had the Cold War going too, yeah.
Yeah, I see that. But and that's cool because if you think about it, there's a lot of history. There's a lot of internal history with Star Trek. There is everything that happened in the first series is continued on in the next series, and everything that happened in the original, the next generation is continued on all the way to. With the exception of Discovery or whatever the fuck the new one is, well, we'll get to that.
I think there's a lot of planning in all of that too, though.
Possibly, but we'll get. What's the last one called?
The newest one is called Discovery.
We'll get to that piece of shit.
And then, oh no, that's not a good one, huh?
Oh, just wait.
No, I'll have to check
It makes
it
me want to
out.
go all Hulk smash on this uniform.
I'm going full Klingon with my facial expression.
What did you guys think about the? What did you guys think about the one with? I know you kind of liked it. Yeah, with Archer.
Enterprise
was pretty good. I kind of liked it.
Enterprise explained why a lot of things, and that's of course.
We gotta talk about the original. So the original, it only had 3 seasons, but it spawned a bunch of movies.
A bunch of movies and a bunch of spin-offs too.
Oh, even the cartoon. There was a
cartoon.
There was a cartoon based off of.
Let's not forget the biggest movie though. Khan.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Ricardo
Montalban
was a
was
good
big.
actor. He was a good actor.
I kept expecting that midget to come out though. The plane, boss, the plane.
So it spawned a bunch of movies, and then it's the movies. It actually, again, fun nerd fact, it was the movie success from the original series. The reason why Star Trek got a reboot for Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Well, there's also you were talking about the Khan movie, The Wrath of Khan. Of course, Ricardo Montalban actually played Khan in the original series show, and he did an amazing job.
Exactly.
And what he is he's an augmented human, who was there's a bunch of experiments going on that were illegal at one point when the world was dark, when shit was bad.
You gotta back that up a little bit though. The reason the experiment started was to keep up with the Klingon.
Yes.
because the Klingons were stronger, faster, better than us in every physical aspect. So to keep up with the Klingons, we started doing genetic testing and
alteration.
And alterations, and then we got people like Khan. Yes,
what was the big defect with these augmented human beings?
And it was they were crazy. They were
very smart, but they were also
make a very small reference to this because it's part of the storyline of Deep Space Nine. For every Julian Bashir we get 10 Khans.
Yes.
So yes, they always get super smart as part of the genetic breeding. But more often than not, they go absolutely
batshit
crazy.
But you gotta remember, Julian was a later generation version of an augmented human being. Khan was like prototype A, more or less.
And he was crazy and strong
and fast. Insane. And obviously, he also, one of the biggest things about Khan was that when you pissed him off, he didn't think rationally. That went out the window. No, think about it. Would you follow Kirk into that fucking nebula? Right? All he did was taunt him. You're a bitch, huh? Follow me. And that was it. More or less, am I wrong?
No. I mean, he didn't say you're a bitch, but all he did was make fun of him a little bit.
Yeah.
But the fun fact, though, what's crazy is, and this wasn't explained until Enterprise, so I'm going a little ahead to jump back in time. Everybody always wonders what happened to Klingons. Well, it's fun fact, it was explained in Enterprise. The ridges.
Yeah, they do explain
the reason why the ridges
and they did explain in the Trouble with Tribbles episode of Deep Space Nine when they asked Worf what happened, why are the ridges gone? He's like, we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that. But they do talk about it in Enterprise. They bring it up in Enterprise. There's a whole episode about it. It's my favorite episode in Enterprise, and that is that to keep up with the genetic breeding the humans were doing, the Klingons took their data and some of their blood work and mixed it with the Klingons' entire race, not just one, all of them.
Put that shit in their water.
Put that shit in their water, and it fucked them, and then it smoothed out their foreheads, and it was gonna smooth out their foreheads, and then they had to, the whole Enterprise episode was them trying to find a cure because it was killing them. They got the cure, but the residual leftover side effect was for 2 or 3 generations, they were gonna have smoother forehead.
Well, let's talk about that.
Wow,
that isn't, yeah, you gotta watch it.
I never saw
Let's talk about that. That is a damn good explanation. They added human genetics, and that's why their foreheads. That's a damn good explanation to where, because in the past, let's be honest, it was the fact that they didn't know how to make Klingons. What
that was the real reason. Yeah, that was Gene Roddenberry always wanted to have the forehead ridges, and they just didn't have the
the technique or the makeup technique or whatnot, what have you.
Yeah, the prosthetics.
Okay. That was a damn good explanation as to why they had the flat foreheads. And
I thought it was the best explanation and one of the best episodes of Enterprise that was ever done, because Star Trek has been very good throughout. And again, you're going to see as we talk more and more about it, it's very good about the newer series coinciding with the older series and explaining great explanations and to interchange. So really, to watch one season is almost incomplete. You have to watch all of them, and that's going to be a running thread as this podcast keeps going.
With the exception of Discovery. It goes on to the movies, and you got how many Star Trek movies did we get for the original series?
There are 6.
There's 6 movies. Okay, so the first movie is the motion picture.
The second, The Wrath of Khan. Then In Search for Spock. Then The Voyage Home. Mm-hmm. Then the final
Frontier.
The Final Frontier.
That one kind of sucked.
Yeah. Was that the one with the God character?
Yeah.
You know what I remember from that one? When he pisses him off, when he's pisses the God character off, and after all this, and I just remember one thing: the God character goes, "You," like makes this fucking donkey sound, and that's what I remember most of all from that movie.
Kirk is like, excuse me, what does God need with a spaceship?
Gets all pissed off. What does God need with a spaceship?
Yeah, and then the last one, The Undiscovery.
Yeah. Undiscovered Country.
What's that?
Undiscovered Country, I think.
And so, in order, and you were right, it's first movie came out in 1979, then 82, then 84, which was my birth year, Spock came to visit me. That's why he was lost.
So 79 was mine. And
84 was mine.
84 was yours. Okay, cool.
Then 86, 89, and 91, believe it or not, was the last one.
That was
91.
Yeah, that was
91. Wow.
What was the last one? The last one was the one with the politics with the fucking Klingon, I think.
Yeah, and it was, and you're right, the undiscovered country. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But now, out of those movies, which is your favorite, though?
Oh, do you really have to ask?
The Wrath of Khan's my
The
favorite.
Wrath of Khan.
Khan!
It's got to be that one.
It's got to be Khan. You know, The Search for Spock was good, but watching, I was making this reference with Sofisto, where I was like, "You have always been, and forever shall be, my friend." You know, I probably fucked up the quote, but
Ricardo Montalban?
Montalban, sorry, Ricardo Montalban. You can't replace him as Khan. You can put like the buffest, awesome motherfucker in it. He's not Ricardo Montalban. He's just not.
The chest that you see on Ricardo Montalban, and that's not makeup. That's his real chest. The chest that he had bare, and
Yeah, sitting all sexy.
Yeah.
Time. Like, I'm going to fuck your girlfriend if you bring her around me.
No.
The plane,
Yeah,
boss.
He's like that in the captain's chair.
Do you know how many women he could have slept with in the 70s?
He probably did.
Probably
Yeah, he
did.
probably did too.
He was the Kirk of that time.
From the 40s to the 70s. Yeah, he was a macho man. I remember when Billie Jean King and that guy that they had the tennis match with, Bobby Riggs. They interviewed him and he made some statement about it. I think Bobby Riggs will win because he has the larger male muscles. You know?
He was talking about his dick.
Movies came out, spawned the next one. In my opinion, sorry, I gotta do it. It spawned the best one, which is it's my second favorite. This is so hard. Anyways, it spawned the Next Generation. Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I don't think it was
First
that
episode aired September 28, 1987. I was right.
All right.
I love my nerd card. All right, so.
And then, of course, there's Picard. Make it so.
Oh my God! So it starts off episode 1, encounter at Farpoint.
Well, we got to ask this question. And this is the question while we're here, especially on The Next Generation, Kirk or Picard?
Picard.
Kirk. Picard could not fight.
They were both cool in their own respect.
Picard was hella smart. He was very good at what he did. He was a better captain in a few aspects. But Picard...
In all aspects, except for fighting.
No. Kirk was perfect for his time because he could fight.
He was a good leader
If you
too.
swapped generations...
And every time every time one of his crew members died, he almost cried. So.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Kirk could be... I don't think Kirk could come back from being a Borg and be, like, fucking sane. I'll give him that. But Picard went back to the original series time, Picard would be dead. He'd be sipping his Earl Grey tea and a fucking Klingon would just shank his ass. Prison style.
I don't think he'd be dead. I just don't think he'd be a captain.
No, he'd be dead. He'd be a captain for like 5 seconds. He'd be the next Pike.
Remember the reason why he doesn't fight is because he used to be a champion fighter. He was so arrogant that he got into a fight with a bunch of Nausicaans. That's the word. He got into a bar fight with 3 Nausicaans and got shanked through the heart and lived.
Wouldn't happen to Kirk. Wouldn't happen to Kirk. Wouldn't happen to Kirk. Kirk would do some sort of fucking roll and kick their ass.
And a karate chop.
And a karate chop.
And a chop.
Yep.
I'm going to say this. As a martial artist, it's hard to watch any fight scene from any Star Trek. You would think at some point they would hire a boxer or a trainer of some kind. It was so bad. It was so bad.
It was bad. So, okay, what about you?
Yeah, Kirk's
Sofisto?
been through
Kirk
or Picard? It's got to be Kirk.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like
He's just hating. You're just hating.
I'm not hating. I'm not hating. it.
You are hating.
He just has his point of view.
Kirk, what's your answer to the diplomatic situation? Punch him in the face. Kirk,
Fuck
what's your
yes,
answer to this
'cause
diplomatic
that was
situation?
how it
Sleep with his wife.
That's what worked. That's what worked back then. Yeah, they fucked a lot of shit up, but you know what? The Next Generation wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for fucking Kirk.
That's true.
You can't punch your way out of every situation, Kirk.
You can, and he did,
He didn't. He was a smart guy too.
and he was intelligent. I mean, he found Khan's
For a
problems.
shaved ape, he was intelligent.
And he solved a lot of crimes when he became a cop later too.
DJ Hooker.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
Well,
I'm not hating on Kirk. Kirk is a great captain. He really is, and you're right. All right, fine. I will concede my point. You are right. For the time, Kirk is exactly what the Federation needed. Yes.
yes.
But the thing about it is when I look at it, and don't get me wrong, as a fighter, I admire Kirk a lot. Like, yes, you can punch your way out of a lot of the situations, but there's times, at all times, man should strive for peace and intelligent conversation. There are some men that only understand the sword. That is a quote that I've always lived by, and I think you need to have both. But the reason why I say that is that I believe, and especially as a martial artist, that intelligence will always temper the fist. Always. And that's what you get with the Next Generation. You had Picard, who was the intelligent leading the show, and you had Worf, and you had Riker as the angry young man trying to punch things.
The enforcer.
Yeah,
The enforcers.
I agree. I agree 100%.
You can't have the captain be the enforcer. Oh my god. Okay, so Next Generation is probably the greatest TV of all time. It had 7 seasons, 26 episodes per season.
Probably the best ending episode
What's
too.
up?
Probably the best ending episode as well.
Oh, What We Leave Behind? Oh, that scene at the poker table when he was like, when she looks at him, he's like, I should have done this more often. And he's like, you were always welcome. Tears! Like, oh, it's so good because that's what's so great about that's what I like about the Next Generation and why I think Picard's a better captain because Picard started off so stiff and so rigid and so standoffish from his bridge crew that he wanted no personal relationship. His story arc through that...
Well, he didn't even like kids, and remember how much he got attached to Wesley? Shut up, Wesley! Best line in the whole fucking series.
He told that kid to fuck off so much.
Because he wouldn't even have him on the deck, and remember, like, Dr. Crusher kept, like, trying to push him on, like, go fuck with the captain. Go up there and do your thing. And she knows he hates kids, but,
Yeah, but the dynamic of that is that he was best friends with his dad.
Yeah.
And his choice that he made resulted in the death of Wesley's father.
Yes.
And so that's a very interesting dynamic that Wesley has to go through when he goes through the academy.
Well, it's
his
great when
biggest
they
fear.
get close as well, you know. And then, of course, the academy episodes with Wesley are amazing. But you know what? My favorite episode of The Next Generation is when, and this one actually got me like, oh goddamn, I'm crying, I'm sad. Was the one where where Picard goes through this hallucination state where he thinks where he goes through this and gets his family, his whole life goes by, and then he has to.
He's playing the flute too.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is a damn good episode. To this day, that episode gets me. To this day, imagine living your life in a matter of, I don't know what, hours or whatever, minutes.
He was out for like an hour.
Yeah, and then coming back and having all these memories of people you loved, and they didn't fucking exist.
No, they existed.
But they did, but they don't exist now.
Yeah, because the whole planet was dying. That was the whole point.
Yeah.
They made
the planet
this,
died a long time ago. Of course,
They made this probe to go out so that somebody would have the memories of these people. That's the whole reason they did it. And everything about it was a real village. It was a real problem. Everything was real. It's just that you experienced it through the eyes of this man, and you became this man, and that was.
This is where
and they even left the flute in the box.
Yes. This is where I say this. Imagine having this love for someone. That love wasn't fake.
No, he had a daughter. He
And
had a daughter.
and you live your life, and all of a sudden you realize, shit, this is where I say that Picard is the intellectual. He, by far. compared to Kirk, the intellectual, because I couldn't come back from that and just be like, okay, let's go on with our everyday life. No, I'd be fucked up. No.
That gets me a lot. I gotta say though,
That is a feels episode.
so my favorite episode of all time, and this I can say unequivocally with no doubt in my mind, the greatest actor to ever grace the stages of Star Trek, and I'm talking all of them, was Brett Spiner.
Oh God, yes.
And the reason why I
Data.
say this, if you need evidence, you watch the episode where he played Dr. Sonnen, he played Data, and he played Lore at the same time with 3 different character types with 3 distinct personalities, and he acted them completely different. That is fucking genius level acting.
He did well.
What's that?
He did well. Sofisto, what's your favorite The Next Generation episode?
I can't really say whether I've got a favorite Next Generation. Actually, to tell you, I was such a big Star Trek, the original series fan that I didn't want to like the Next Generation.
I can see that.
You and your mom started watching it. I was like, that's not gonna last. It's gonna be on for 6 months and then it'll be out of here.
Boy, you were wrong.
And then
You were way wrong.
yeah, yep, I was. And then I got to be kind of a fan of it and watching it. And then,
Well, you'd watch it with us.
yeah,
I don't care. I will argue till I'm blue in the face, till I can't breathe anymore. The best Star Trek series, my first one, and still the best one, is Deep Space Nine.
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue with you. When I first heard about Deep Space Nine, I was very upset because I thought, oh, it's just on the space station. This is fucking stupid. But then I actually watched it. When I watched the whole series, I kind of liked it.
His Next Generation set up everything for Deep Space Nine and Voyager. So every premise that the
Again,
Voyager
Ferengi.
and Ferengis, but every premise that Deep Space Nine, in fact, all of Deep Space Nine's premise was set up in the Next Generation. When they talked about the Cardassians were first introduced in Next Generation, and they even talked about the occupation that was currently going on because Ensign Ro Laren, who came in, everybody fucking hated that bitch. When Ro Laren came in, she talked about the hardship of their people, the fact that the Cardassians are occupying their space, and that the Federation doesn't want to help them. That set up everything for Deep Space Nine.
Well, it set it up for the spin-off. You can even say. We didn't even talk about all the characters for the Next Generation. You got Worf. You got
So Worf is great because so pause on Worf real quick because Worf is my favorite character, probably of all time.
Well, you get to know deeply a Klingon's like inner thinking and everything.
But he's not a normal Klingon. He's way more reserved, and the reason why he's reserved is because he grew up with humans. But he was adopted. His parents were killed at Khitomer. He was adopted by humans and raised on Earth.
That's right.
So the
He had
thing
to
about
hold
it
back
is,
or he'd kill children.
he was actually a very normal Klingon child, very boisterous, very loud, very aggressive. It was during a soccer match that he jumped up for the ball and he headbutted another kid and he almost killed him. And he realized how fragile humans were because the headbutt, he didn't even feel it. And this headbutt almost killed this kid. So he decided that if he was going to live amongst humans, that he had to, above everything else, practice restraint and control. That being said, led him to be a very shitty fighter. In Star Trek, the original series, Worf gets owned every fight. He gets this shit kicked in every fight. But by Deep Space Nine, he becomes the greatest warrior the Klingons have ever seen. Man,
Look at all the shit that happened. Look at all the shit that happened to him in the original. I'm sorry, in the Next Generation. You know,
Right, and you gotta remember too, he took over the position of security because Tasha Yar, the first main bridge character to
I was
die.
about to bring that up.
Well, was Scotty a bridge character? Because technically he wasn't a bridge character.
Scotty was a bridge character. He was the
he was
engineer.
engineer, yeah.
Yeah, so okay, second main one, because Scotty was...
Well, Scotty didn't die in the original series that I know of. No, he didn't.
No, that's right.
Scotty disappeared, and they found him in the Next Generation, in that like hyperbolic, fucking frozen chamber. Where that was a damn good episode, because here he is trying to teach all these people who with all this new shit, all the old tricks, and he just it kind of felt bad for him.
My favorite episode though is when he goes when he's talking to LaForge, or a favorite part of that episode is when he's talking to LaForge, he goes, all right, Captain, I'll have that done in 45 minutes. And he turns him and looks and goes,
yes.
So how long is it really going to take? And he goes, 45 minutes. He goes, you never tell a captain how long it takes. That way when you get it done in 20 minutes, you look like a genius.
Yes.
Back to it, like Tasha Yar was the first British character to die off in Star Trek. And the way they killed her was so...
That big tar monster killed her, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That was fucking horrible.
Dead.
At least Data got a taste of that first, though.
Oh yeah, Data got to hit that.
Oh, yeah, Data. That was the first time he got to use his sexual...
He even bragged about it. Like,
he even bragged
like
about
how many different ways he can do stuff. And I'm like,
Yep. That's why I like War. Then you have Data, which Data's story arc is really one of very simple kind of like he's Pinocchio. He wants to be a real boy.
Data was exactly what it was.
Yeah.
But Data was, in my opinion, the Spock of the Next Generation.
Which is funny too, because they even talk about it in some of the episodes that like he is what the Vulcans are striving to be. He's like a perfect form. He's a perfect being in their mind.
But he wants to be human. He wants.
Yeah, he's like I would never hide my feelings. I would never suppress my feelings. Like if I had feelings, I would have them, all the time. What I also love about Star Trek is that when Next Generation, because it had more series. Obviously, now it's unfair to really compare it hard, like apples to apples, because it had more seasons, it had more episodes.
Well, better graphics. It was a different time.
Well, and one of those perks to having more episodes is that you really get to go into the dynamics of the character friendships and the characters themselves. Everybody gets their own episode. Everybody gets their own episode to grow, and then everybody gets their own episode with their best friend.
Riker had Kirk's libido.
Yes.
Riker would fuck anything. He was the same as
Riker would
Kirk
fuck anything. Do you remember the episode when he went to the planet where it was a matriarchal planet and he was treated like a female?
Oh yeah.
He had to wear lingerie for her, and they had that sex scene where it's like, well, but you respect me in the morning, and like, oh my god, it was so good.
It was so different for him. Oh.
So then you had and then you had obviously some. I mean, I don't want to not mention all the characters, but you had Deanna Troi, who I couldn't stand in every episode. Like, I tell my friends who are like, oh, I'm gonna watch the Next Generation. Cool. Anytime Oksana Troi comes on, skip that fucking episode. With the invention of the holodeck, we got better episodes with more fun, more fun episodes.
It wasn't always on the ship.
Exactly, because you could set up like, oh, we want to do a Western? Cool, they're on the holodeck. Boom.
I mean,
done.
watching Worf wear fucking Western clothing was great. That episode with him and his son, they're trying to bond, and his son made that...
Alexander Rozhenko?
Yeah. Yes. Well, what was the name of that dorky dude that ended up going into some of the other seasons? And he had like this really weird fetish with some of the characters, and he made like this holodeck program with all of the characters.
Barkley.
Yes, Barkley. That's a favorite of mine right there. That guy was so fucking weird.
Lieutenant Barkley is actually, he was in Next Generation, he was in Deep Space Nine, and he was in Voyager.
Yes.
And it wasn't weird, it wasn't obsession, he had a holo addiction, you asshole.
He had a holo addiction. Hold on. He had a holo addiction, but at the same time he also made holodeck versions of of the people on the ship, and really fucking weird, dude. Come on, imagine yourself going into the thing and you're like the fucking, I don't know, you're fucking Pee Wee Herman or something. The opposite of who you are.
That's what I love about it, because that episode was really good about showing mental illness and shyness and all that, because what he was doing was, in this world, he was God. He can control everything. And the people that he felt inferior to, he could now bow up and make them inferior to him.
And I'm not saying I liked Barkley. I thought he was a damn good character.
I know that if Star Trek was real, if like the technology was real, like if I plopped into that world, I'd have holo addiction so fast.
Me too.
So fast. I would spend so much time on the holodeck. I would be doing all the things I ever dreamed of doing. And my dumbass would probably turn off the holodeck safeties. So like I'd skydive with no safeties. I'd fight creatures with no safety. I'd have tons. And I love that you even mentioned that there are erotic novels for the holosuite. That is so great.
Well, they talk. I don't think that's more so for the next generation. I think that's more so for like DS9.
That was for
Quark,
DS9.
Quark or whatever.
Hollow novels.
Fantasy, more or less.
Yeah. What is your fantasy? I can make it
with
happen.
some of the AI stuff that they're trying to come up with, that's probably going to be something else that will be checked off the list.
It's all well and good until a robot bites your dick off.
Yeah.
Next generation also introduced us to space zombies. The Borg.
Borg. Oh, how did we almost skip the Borg?
And that was the first time we found out about the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah,
Completely forgot about that because Q, and again another species that appeared out of nowhere. Q
Literally out of nowhere.
Literally out of nowhere. Q magicked them to the fucking Delta Quadrant years before they were actually supposed to meet the
Borg. The Borg.
The Borg, yeah.
Yeah. That was literally the first episode, Encounter at Farpoint. Oh, you think you know what's in the galaxy? Boom.
Boom. Look at this. And you got space, and you got, resistance is futile. And of course, later down the line, you get Locutus.
So let's talk about the Borg. Let's get into this.
Yes, we can't talk about the next generation without getting into the Borg, man.
So, do you remember the battle that happened between them at Wolf 359?
Wolf 359, yes.
So, Wolf 359 was the major battle that took place between...
That's where all the ships came in and attacked, and all at once. That was the big battle, because that was close to Earth. Literally,
Yes.
Wolf 359 is like the closest waypoint to Earth. That was our last bastion before they got to us.
Yeah. And that battle, man. Oh, but, okay, so Borg in general. The Borg are... I think you call them space zombies. That so confused me.
Space zombies. It's exactly
Not
what they
zombies.
fucking are.
They're not zombies. They're organic life perfectly melded with
Go continue. Keep talking. It's cool.
they're organic
Space zombies.
life. They're organic
Space
life
zombies.
perfectly melded with
Space
technology.
zombies. You gonna continue?
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. They're organic life melded with technology. The better species.
One mind.
Yes. So continue. I'm just giving you shit.
I'll tell you this right now. If you were to be able to give me metal arms and legs with robot arms, I would cut my arms off right now with a rusty spoon. Like,
The nanobites or whatever, the nanotech in them was the good thing about that was that they could adapt.
yes.
And I think that's probably maybe the best part about it. But the thing is, you lose your consciousness. You know?
Well, that's the only problem with the Borg, is that you do lose your consciousness. You become a drone, you become a slave. Let me play Borg devil's advocate here.
Okay.
Is it such a bad thing to lose your individuality? The Borg that have ever been disconnected talk about how lonely it is. Your mind is your own mind.
That's
true. You will never be alone. There's no depression with the Borg. There's no sadness. There's no alone. There's no fear. There's no anger. Everybody knows everybody perfectly. Do you know how much I wish? I am terrible at human interaction and communication. I wish that I had a little adapter that I could pull out of my brain, plug it into yours, and you could perfectly understand me as I am.
I think a lot of people want
really
that.
such a bad thing?
Not necessarily the way you explained it, but I think a lot of people want that.
I'm so pro burning the Borg. It's ridiculous. Like, I'm so pro Borg.
You're dick riding the Borg right now.
But here's the thing. I'm only pro Borg if I could lead the Borg. If I could be the Borg king, like the Borg queen. She has her individuality.
Yeah.
And she can hear everything.
So,
If I could keep my individuality but be tapped in with the Borg, I'd be cool with that.
I don't know. I like the spears. I like the orbs, or rather the cubes. I like the ships. They were pretty fucking cool, and they were huge too. You know, so that was cool.
Plus, the Borg understand the concept of that we're not all special snowflakes. We're all part of the same compost pile. Good as it possibly can
We're all
be.
a cog in the machine.
I am Unimatrix 02, Junction 7. My job is to make sure that this pipe stays clean. That's my job.
4 out of 10.
Yeah, 4 to 10. That's my job.
There's 10 of us. I'm the 4th one. Yeah, that's that.
So I'm so pro Borg. It's
I don't know, but I get where you're coming from. So Deep Space Nine. At first, I wasn't a fan. I watched it. I liked it. I'm not a big Cisco didn't intrigue me at first. Cisco was rather boring at first, and then he went to Bajor and became the chosen one, and whatever. And that was interesting. It got good about that part. Have you seen much of Deep Space Nine?
Not much of it.
No, he wasn't. It wasn't the original series, but it's okay.
I was working.
Here's the thing. Okay, so you're totally oversimplifying Cisco's role and the beauty of it. So he is. He is. He's an ass.
It's not oversimplifying. If you watch it, that's what you see.
No, it isn't. You asshole. You goddamn simpleton.
Continue, fuckface.
No. Okay. So this was unprecedented because this was the first time that Star Trek actually wanted to tackle religion. When you get to Bajor, you find out that they have this whole belief system structured around what they call the prophets. The prophets are their gods. They live in the celestial temple. There is a prophecy that was handed down to them. Not only was it their prophecies, but through space and time, they were actually sent orbs, and the orbs would give you like acid trips that would send you on visions. Now, all this came from a being that lived inside of a wormhole that lived outside of linear time.
Yep.
So this species had no concept of linear time. So when they wanted to communicate with Bajor, they're like, oh, we should probably tell these guys. They didn't understand that when they sent them a message, they were sending it back to them 600 years before the event was supposed to happen because they had no concept of our linear timeline. Now, they lived in the Celestial Temple that was an undiscovered wormhole in this place. So Cisco finds the wormhole and is the first big fuck off, dude. This is important. He talks.
I like how you're watching my facial expression because you know I'm gonna do this.
I know.
Go on.
So Cisco talks and tries to explain to them linear time. He tries, and this is what's brilliant about it. This is why, forgetting all the jokes, this is why I like it. Because one man's God is nothing more than another person's advanced species. But how do you, that's the question. How do you want to look at it? Do you want to look at these as wormhole beings that we can't talk to unless they want to talk to us, or are they gods? Do they live inside? They live inside of a wormhole, but there's no physical space of where they live. Do they live in the heavens, or are they just a being that's beyond us? Same with the cube.
I got one question for you. What does God need with a spaceship?
Right, and they don't have one though.
Yeah,
but
they
don't have one.
They don't.
It's the same premise with Q. Q is nothing more than a species that evolved to be able to have these godlike powers and are not gods.
Yeah,
they even Qs are not God.
Yeah. So, and that's good. And like you said, there's a lot of religious in this, and it's good because you have the Cardassians, right? The Cardassians?
Yeah, the Cardassians, not the Kardashians.
Not the Kardashians. You have the Cardassians. The Kardashians is a whole other shitty species. They're literally like the slavers. They enslaved the. What I do? How do
the reference that you're missing, you plebe, is that the Cardassians are the Nazis and the.
Well, I was getting to that, but then you made faces like a fuck dick. It is very like Jew, Nazi, right? So there's a lot of innuendo there too, but the thing is they more or less enslaved them on Deep Space Nine, which had another name. You remember the name?
Terok Nor.
Terok Nor. And there was two more. Maybe
there
more.
were two.
Yeah, there were two, and these were like basically enslavement camps for them. But the whole time they're basically telling them, "Oh, we're doing you a favor. You're here. We're doing you a favor. Good job. Get to work." And that's pretty much what was going on.
The Cardassians saw themselves as the superior race trying to help this lowly race out by making them work for them.
Whoa, who was the changeling? What was his name?
Odo.
Odo, thank you. Odo was literally, it's funny because Odo was literally one of the first, he was there when they were enslaved, and then he was still...
It's not called enslaved, it was called the occupation, and it was very important.
When they were when they were in the middle of their occupation, whatever the fuck, you bitch, nerd.
Hitler would have liked that to have been called the occupation.
Yes. While during the occupation, Odo was there, and he was also someone who like kept the peace.
His name is Odo Etol, which literally translates to unknown specimen or unknown sample. When they found out that he was intelligent, he came to being in the middle of this occupation. He's always been on Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine's Terra Nor has always been his home. When they found out that he was sentient, he had this over righteousness for justice. So they made him the peacekeeper on Terra Nor, and we're like, fine, you're gonna be a beacon of hope and justice. And really, it was the Cardassians' plan to show the Bajorans that, look, we're giving you something that's impartial so that you don't think that we're oppressively ruling you, even though that we're oppressively ruling you. And Odo did his best job trying to keep the peace and trying to judge. He saved a lot of Bajorans by keeping the peace.
He was like Schindler.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, he was the Schindler of Deep Space Nine. If you really want to, and that's the thing. If you really want to get into like the occupation, why were they occupying? And it was great because you really get to see. They were really good about writing the political upheaval of something like this, because there was a lot of people on Cardassia that didn't believe in the occupation and were trying to free the Bajoran, but they were working within their own government. And then you get the Bajoran side of it, where they're like, we're freedom fighters, and if you weren't trying to free us, then you were against us. And it's like, yeah. And you also get the writing of like, there's a great episode
you see
where
a lot of in the Next Generation towards the end.
Yeah, there's a great episode about like, who is the bad guy, right? Because they were talking about this guy who was mutilated, kidnaps Major Kira. And he's kind of crazy. He kept talking about the light, come into the light. Like, he was a crazy, like, deformed guy. Come to find out, he was nothing more than a simple janitor. And he got bombed, and him and his wife and daughter got killed by the Bajorans. He wasn't in the military. He had nothing to do with the occupation. Just because he was Cardassian, these freedom fighters killed him and his family. Well, tried to kill him. What I love about the series is that they have
each one has a really cool set of characters.
Very intelligent, good writing, where they show both sides, because it is, man, like, it's very easy just to be like, oh, occupation bad, Bajoran freedom fighters good. But is it good when a freedom fighter kills an innocent family?
Or blows up another planet because there's like 12 Cardassians and like 1,000 other people? Yeah.
It makes you step back and think of your own thing. Like, what would I do in those situations? What if I've tried to fight for my own people's freedom? Who would I hurt? And am I morally justified because I'm fighting for the freedom of my people to hurt an innocent person that had nothing to do with the military? Gene Roddenberry and the writers of Star Trek were very good about nobody's ever really evil, you know?
Well, also, we should mention this. Roddenberry died. Roddenberry passed away during the Next Generation.
He did pass away during the Next Generation, but the writers that were his two closest friends stayed on for Deep Space Nine.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, they stayed on for Deep Space Nine. And fun fact, they left before Voyager started, and that's why Voyager's a piece of shit.
Just real quick, Deep Space Nine was the first that's actually put out where they make a warship. A warship.
Yeah. In the Gamma Quadrant.
Yes. And again, another quadrant that we found out about.
Well, throughout our history, there's been nothing but wars, you know, throughout our history. So Roddenberry and all those writers continue to follow up on it. You got the stuff that related along to the Nazis and the Jews and how the Jews were persecuted in World War II. It continues too.
When I watch Deep Space Nine, the reason why I love it so much, I feel like it was Star Trek's warning never to forget World War II. I feel is very powerful message overall that good men given power can become bad men, and bad men with power can do terrible things.
Well, in Deep Space Nine, what was the...
Oh!
Yes!
Ooh, that bitch!
Yeah!
She was, Kai.
Yeah, she was Grand Kai or some shit. Kai something.
Kai Wynn.
Kai Wynn, yes. Kai Wynn, I couldn't stand her!
Oh, what a good villain! I hated that bitch! Oh, I wanted her to die. I never wanted somebody to be gutted more in my life. But that goes to her acting skills, that she played that character so well to make you hate her that much.
Did damn good with her. Yes.
You know? But she
was a conniving piece of shit.
If you look, I'm very good about saying if you like any, like, I can make an argument. You can make a devil's advocate to like any race in Star Trek, even the Cardassian. But if you like Kai Wynn, you are an evil person. You are
like,
evil.
You're dark to the soul.
You're dark to the soul. Kai Wynn is the perfect example of when people use religion to manipulate the masses. And use religion to twist people for their own gain and their own self. Oh, she pisses me off. I hate people like her. Fun Star Trek fact about relationships. Major Kira was pregnant during one of the seasons of Deep Space Nine, right?
Uh-huh.
The real-life husband of that, Dr. Bashir. They were married through the entire series.
That's fucking cool. Was it Deep Space Nine that they did the remake of The Trouble with Tribbles?
Mm-hmm.
I loved that episode. That was probably one of my favorite episodes. I was watching the series just to get to that. And I think it was towards the end. It was great.
That's where Worf, Jadzia Dax, Cisco, and Bashir went back in time.
Yes. And they had to wear the old uniforms, you know, and look the part.
And they CGI'd Kirk and Spock into it. It was
actually, they CGI'd them into the old setup.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. They green screened them in, which was fucking great. It was just in the interaction between them and how like they saw the fight scene with the Klingons versus, you know, with in that bar. That was great. Because I think where they found him was K7.
My favorite is when they're sitting in the bar. Those Klingons are about to start trouble, and then he's like, "What Klingons?" And they show the Klingons, and they have goatees, the classic Klingons, and they're like, "Those guys, those are Klingons. Those are Klingons." Like, and they look at Worf. They're like, "Worf, what the hell happened?" He's like, "We don't talk about it." You know, he's all mad.
Yeah.
We don't talk about it.
He was very embarrassed. Because I guess the smooth foreheads is an insult thing.
Which leads us into Voyager.
Well, let's talk about Voyager. Out of all of the Star Trek captains, I think we can all agree that Janeway is a piece of shit.
I will actually respectfully disagree. I think that Janeway is powerful, strong, badass to the next level, like dead set in her mind. Her strength led her crew back to the Alpha Quadrant.
No, it's just she had some really bad decisions. And some of them I understand because some of them were like, if I go, this planet is dead. You know, I understand that. But
she wasn't willing to sacrifice her convictions for an easy fix. That is admirable. You know how many people bend and break in those conditions?
True.
Would your convictions hold up in that situation? That's the question you gotta ask yourself. Hers did. Her feet were put to the fire, and she did not break as a human being. That is a quality that you have to admire.
In some of these instances, she could have got him home. And that, as a captain, that's her fucking job.
So they were tracking the Maquis. They were tracking the Maquis.
Yeah.
And the Maquis' bases are in the Badlands. Well, there's a section of the Badlands that's kind of like the Bermuda Triangle. People go missing. So they know it's a dangerous part of space.
Yeah, they didn't have to do that.
But it's like urban legend. It's like the Bermuda Triangle.
It wasn't an urban legend. They ended up in the fucking Delta Quadrant. It was a bad decision. I wouldn't have followed those fuckers in there.
She had to save. Tuvok was undercover on the ship. She had to save him.
Bye, bitches.
You would just let a man die. You would let your best friend die.
Me or like 200 or 300 more people, depending on how many people were on this ship. I can't remember.
It was exactly 200 crew members.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what I was thinking. 200. Anyway, so they had 199 crew members. Well, 198, 6, depending on the few that were missing. I just been like, bye, bitches. You know, the needs of the few aren't as important as the needs of the many.
You almost fucked that up.
Yeah, but I didn't, did I?
But you didn't.
I'm disagreeing. I think she was a good captain, maybe a little bit, but not necessarily good character captain, but not necessarily the best. She made a lot of mistakes, and I understand that that's part of being in a leadership position, but she made them all the time. All the time.
I mean, yeah, I think Voyager's the worst.
It's because of Janeway.
The reason why Voyager's the worst is like I said before. The original writers, Gene Roddenberry had long been passed by this point, and the original 2 writers that stuck with Gene Roddenberry had left, and Hollywood had full control over Voyager.
Well, let me ask you this: knowing that you don't care for Voyager as much as the other ones, you got to at least admit that some of the characters were good, and some of the writing for those characters, the Doctor in particular.
The Doctor had a good series.
The Doctor was their Data, obviously.
Yes, and B'Elanna Torres is a great character.
Yes, Torres was a very good.
Tuvok was a great character.
Yes, he was.
Neelix and Tuvok's relationship was really good.
And this is where you and I got into something a long time ago when we first started talking about how we're going to do the Star Trek. This is like season 1 stuff. There are sets of characters that go well together in the Star Trek universe, and Tuvok and Neelix were one of those sets.
Yes.
I mean, to the point where they even made them one person.
Yeah. What was it?
Is that
Tuvix?
Tuvix, I think. Yeah.
Tuvok? No, it was Tuvix.
Was it? I think it was Tuvix or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Where they got stuck in a transporter accident and they became one person.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Oh, and they're literally, and the thing is, and this is another thing you said, they couldn't stand each other because Neelix is all about his emotion, and Tuvok is all about being Vulcan.
But you know what? I will say this about Tuvok. He's a mind meld whore.
Oh God, yes, he mind melded like 20 times in that series.
His first answer to everything is, "How do you want to solve this? Mind meld?
Mind sex.
It's my mind to your mind." Your thoughts to my thoughts. Any problem, if it was a mind problem, he was like, "I'll mind meld with them." It's like, you whore, stop
I
it.
know your deepest secrets.
Yes.
Yeah. But there was a great episode where they were that one planet was selling fear and bad dreams, and he was like, "You want dark thoughts?" And he touched the guy, and he was like, "Have them all." And like the dude just lost his fucking mind. That was fucking. The horror of what a real Vulcan is. They even did that episode where Tuvok lost his emotion, his control.
Because he couldn't have that 7-year sex fest.
That 7-year sex fest.
What'd you call it? What's the name of it? The what? The Mokhtar, right?
Pon Far.
Oh, Pon
He
Far.
fucked that up this
Pon
time.
Far.
The Pon Far.
Okay.
The Mokhtar is after the sex fest. That's what they.
The Mokhtar is after. That's when you eat a bunch of food. That's an aggressive nut.
I actually remember there used to be a local television show back when we only used to get like 3 channels here,
Okay.
and it was called the Nancy Ellen Afternoon Movie Channel, and she actually had Shatner and Nimoy. They showed up to talk to this lady, and they were in their
uniforms.
Yeah, and Spock even had his ears on and everything. And she was questioning him about Spock's love life, and they started talking about it was going to be the next season and what was going to happen, and it was going to explain that he was married and this and that. They had a local interview with Shatner and
Nimoy.
Leonard Nimoy.
That's cool.
Let's not forget the duality, because we talked before. I talk about with Spock. He's half human.
He was very big on impressing Daddy.
Yep.
And Daddy was never impressed. In fact, his first memory that you see when, in the movie, when he comes back, is his dad basically take this away. Yeah. Take this away. I don't want to see this fucking thing, And I think that fucked with him,
Well, yeah. What's crazy too is Sarek and Picard were really good friends.
Yes. Yeah, especially with the episode where he starts getting that like old timers kind of the Vulcan version of it. It was sad because he was proud of his son and gave some of his thoughts to Picard. if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So he could pass them
So
on.
he could pass them on to Spock.
Yeah.
Shit,
Well,
we
no, not
missed.
that, but I was going to suggest that later on, because this is like an overarching Star Trek. We got to do episodes individual about each individual series.
We might do that, but we'll have to. But anyway, so you got Voyager, who and then later on you get 7 of 9, who's half Borg, and it's another Borg survivor. Come on, or half Borg. She's Borg, but she's a Borg survivor, and you get to see, kind of like you were saying, you get to see that disconnection from being Borg, and you get to see that loneliness. And there's an episode where she's drunk. You remember that? And I think she's like hitting on Neelix.
Yeah.
And it's fucking hilarious. She's drunk. A Borg is drunk, and she's like talking about interfacing with him or something. And I'm just like, did she really just
Would
fucking
you like
say
to
that?
interface?
I'm like, as a Borg, this is my question to you, Gambit. As a Borg, if you were to interface with her, would we get shocked?
Why am I the Borg?
You're the Borg fucking friendly guy, so I'm asking you, would we get? I'm asking your opinion. You don't have to tell me for a fact or not. Do you
Would
think
you
we
lose
get?
one of those weird appendage things that?
Yeah. Do you have to like fuck her with a like a fucking laser eye and fucking thing? Yeah. Go like wrist deep.
Angry duck, then closed fist.
Oh.
Give her the Spocker.
Ram it home.
You fist bump her uterus. Hashtag. But Voyager.
Voyager. Voyager to me is like episode 2 of Star Wars. You have to chew through a lot of bullshit
To get to the good stuff.
So when it comes to Star Trek, all of them, I don't care what series you're talking about, time episodes, paradox episodes, and the death of a clone episodes are throwaway episodes. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. There's episodes where like I go back in time, I do this thing, but then the guy dies. Oh, but surprise, somehow they bring him back, but none of that stuff ever happened.
They're filler episodes. Like you're talking about like in the Next Generation where you meet the second Riker.
Yes.
Stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes. Now here's the thing. Voyager is the biggest user of those episodes. I did the math. This is how nerdy I am. I did the math. Throwaway episodes like this, the kind that I'm describing, that literally have no point. There's no character development. It's not progressing an overarching storyline. It is literally just filler bullshit. It has 55 of those.
Out of how many?
Well, 7 seasons, 26 episodes per season. That comes out to 182 episodes. You know,
that makes sense. So 33% is just fucking.
It's just shit you can skip. It's literally just 2 full seasons. It's just shit that don't matter. But the good episodes were really good. And on top of that, I shipped that relationship so hard between B'Elanna Torres and Tom Paris.
Well, yes, and Paris was a good character.
Yeah, he was a great character.
The episodes where they're in the holodeck and he's doing all these like old style, comic books and
TV shows.
Really good shit.
I liked that Ensign Kim never became anything more than Ensign Kim. He's the ensign the entire time.
Yeah, it goes from there. But so okay, we talked about Voyager as much as we can. I think there's Voyager's okay. It's the good episodes are really good. The bad episodes are plentiful. But so next would be Enterprise. And Enterprise, I think, was amazing. You know, you have Archer as the captain. Huh?
I only watched about 7 episodes.
Okay, well, it explains a lot. There's an episode where they talk about how they're going to do the alarm system, red alert and all that. And one of the guys is, I forget which the character is, but I think it's the security officer at the time. He's basically doing like ideas like, what do you think about this? And it's like this horrible fucking sound, and then one of them's like burp burp, the original. And then another one's like a weird beeping sound, and he's like, "Which one sounds better?" He says, "We'll get back to that." Something like that. And
no, and that's what I've heard. I've heard Enterprise explains and fills in a lot of gaps.
A lot of gaps, and literally,
it's like a filler.
It's even more frontierier than the original series.
And I've been meaning to watch it. I just been, like I said, been watching everything in chronological order, and I'm stuck on Voyager. And I'm in the last season. I'm on episode like 13, and I just can't.
The last season, there's maybe 3 good episodes. I hate to say.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard. I'm on a space race episode. And it's just like, God.
Yeah, they go back. But yeah, so Enterprise gets good. It explains a lot, and there's even, and the problem with Enterprise though is there's a lot of time travel. In the long run, there's a lot of time travel.
Mm-hmm.
We're on Enterprise. Enterprise gets pretty good. I'm not going to give it too many spoilers because Gambit hasn't seen it. It gets good. It explains
Enterprise
a lot.
wasn't too bad.
Did you watch all of Enterprise?
I watched most of it.
Okay. Archer was good. It was kind of cool to see. It was a beagle on the ship.
It was his dog. Yeah.
His dog, yeah. It's a good show. I would start with Enterprise and go from the original series and just do it chronologically, like how it's supposed to be chronologically, not how it was made. Let's get to Discovery. And I haven't seen too much Discovery. I've seen enough.
I've seen none of it, so.
Well, I know you're excited to hear about what Gambit has to say about Discovery.
I'm excited to hear what both of you guys have said already. It makes me all
So
excited.
Gambit, give us your rundown. Don't hold back. You've talked about it. You did a review on Discovery, and it was pretty bad. But
terrible writing, terrible cast, terrible crew. Everything about it is a giant ball of fucking shit. Like, it's like if shit ate shit and then shit out more shit. It's just shit. It's so horrible. There's nothing redeeming. There's nothing good about this series.
The Klingons look fucking stupid.
Star Trek, normally Star Trek is about the crew and the ship. This has nothing to do with any of that. It's about this one narcissistic person who, oh my God. And
so wait, let me ask you this. Why did the ship spin instead of go warp speed?
I don't know. And the Klingons don't even look like fucking Klingon.
Nope, they don't act like Klingons either.
They don't act like Klingons. They don't look like Klingons. It is.
Okay, and as far as the evolution, which is this supposed to be after everything, or is this supposed to be where in the evolution of the Star Trek stuff is this at?
So it's a prequel to Star Trek set 10 years before the adventures of Kirk and Spock.
10 years before.
Which doesn't make any fucking sense!
I'm glad we asked him
this. Like that before 10 years? 10 years? Oh my God! I'm so mad!
He's having a Gambit aneurysm.
Like, no, seriously, though.
Gamburism.
Because Enterprise is set years before Star Trek, the original series, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, okay, years before. So you have the Klingons that look one way, then 10 simple years before the original Voyager, the Klingons turn from what we know to this shit species to almost humans in 10 years! And it doesn't make sense!
I'll have to check it out.
Well, that's the thing. You can't watch it on regular television.
Really?
That's another thing!
Where's it at on? Netflix?
What's it on, Gambit?
It's on CBS's bullshit. Whatever CBS's online thing is called.
Oh.
All Access. CBS is All Access.
Oh, that's gonna last a long time.
I got a headache now. My head hurts from yelling. But it's so bad. Like, it's so bad.
So let's give the series so far, all the series a rating. Starting with what you know of Enterprise. 1 to 10.
Starting from with the 7 episodes I've watched,
Instead of what he knows. Yes.
Yeah, start because like I said, I know about the Klingon episode because I watched. Because my friend told me about it. And I was like, I gotta watch this episode.
Yes, you got. You can give it a full rating once you watched it. But for now, what do you give it?
Okay, on the next Ask Gambit section, I'll do a full rating.
Okay.
But for now, what I know about it, I give it a 5.
It's got a 7 from me. What about you, Sofisto?
7 would be fair.
7. Okay. So the original series. We'll start with Sofisto this time. Sofisto, what would you give the original series?
10.
10. I'd give it an 8.
I'll split the difference and give it a 9.
Okay. It's good. That's good considering you're not like gay for the original series. But that's good. So the next generation. We'll start with Gambit.
10.
I'll give the next generation a 10. What about you, Sofisto?
8.
An 8. Okay. So then next would be DS9.
10.
6.
I can't even vote because I don't think I've watched enough of it.
I got a 6. He can't vote. I give it a 6. So then Voyager.
Same thing.
He can't vote.
4.
Think of the good episodes.
4.
I'll give it a 6.
You hit a 4.
So Voyager, and finally Discovery.
A negative 6,432.5.
I'll give it like an inverted boner.
Yeah, like
The inverted
I give it the
bonus.
experience of a Raina Bobbitt.
It's definitely an inverted boner. It's literally
Wow, like give it a Raina Bobbitt.
a mangina.
Raina Bobbitt. Ooh.
The Raina Bobbitt.
But yeah, okay. I think with that, guys, we're gonna go ahead and finish this episode out. It's gonna be a 4-month hiatus. I think we're coming back in February. Just because we're taking a hiatus, like I've said before, doesn't mean we're not gonna be doing anything. We're just taking a break so we can think of more stuff to put on the podcast.
I got some big ideas for Ask Gambit section and do some different things with it to make it fun and more interactive with you guys because I want to interact with you guys so much. It's a lot of fun. And that's it for me. And Twitch, in 10 days, 9 days? 9 days.
When
9 days, Call of Duty comes out, and I will be playing the fuck out of that on our Twitch stream. So
10 days, 9 days from today, or 10 days from a week ago? Or
9 days from today.
from today. Okay, when we're recording this.
Yeah, so I believe it comes out the 10th.
Okay. Then, so by the time this comes out, he'll be playing Call of Duty quite a bit. So expect some twitching. Wrong Twitch.
That's what I look like. That's what I look like while I'm playing. A lot more obscenities. Fuck, shit, fuck.
Expect some Twitch goodness from Gambit in the future. Expect some live streams from myself on Facebook and Twitch. So, with that, everyone, we want you to stay nerdy.
Stay sexy.
Always. Peace.
Beam us up, Scotty.